Kumusta mga kaibigan? Welcome to Josh Friends, where faith meets friendship and inspiration is just a conversation away. This is Reverend Migs Ramirez, and today we are joined by a special guest who's ready to share some words of wisdom from your favorite books and songs from Jesuit Communications. This might just be exactly what you need to hear. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into another episode of heartwarming stories and uplifting messages. Are you ready? Let's go!
You know, whenever my students make a breakthrough at the piano, I tell them it's not just about the notes. It's about trusting your hands to follow where the music leads. Hi, I'm Ces Disini-Pitogo. Some know me as the History of Music and Literature Professor at De La Salle College of St. Benilde, Music Production Department. At present, I am the Program Chair at the College of Music and the Performing Arts of Saint Paul University Manila. Others know me as a piano teacher who somehow manages to teach through a screen these days. My husband teases me about my collection of old coins that keep multiplying. Yes, I'm a bit of a numismatist. And about how I still get lost in 80s music when I'm grading papers. But today, I'm here because Cardinal Tagle's reflections in Siete Palabras have struck a chord with me that I can't stop hearing, especially his meditation on Christ's words, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." In the quiet moments between piano lessons, I often reflect on the power of hands. As music educators, our hands are our primary tools of expression and teaching. They press keys, guide students, and conduct the rhythms of academic life. But during this Lenten season, I've been deeply moved by Cardinal Tagle's reflection on Jesus' last words from the cross. He writes that Jesus' last breath was a prayer commending himself to the Father, using the image of the hands of the Father. This image of hands, of trust, surrender, and divine care, has resonated with me profoundly. You know, as someone who collects coins, I've always been fascinated by how hands have transferred these small pieces of metal that carry so much history and value. Just as coins pass from hand to hand across generations, trust is also passed along through touch and connection. When the pandemic hit, like Cardinal Tagle reflects in the book, we became aware, hyper aware of our hands. As he writes, we are made aware that our hands touch so many things. With the hands, we express affection. We embrace people, but also through the hands, we get in touch with various droplets and mucus. This new wariness of touch changed everything for me as a piano teacher. Teaching piano online was a profound shift. My profession, built on guiding hands at the keyboard, had to transform. I remember sitting at my piano at home, demonstrating finger positioning to students through a screen, unable to gently adjust their hands as I had done for years. In those moments, I truly understood Cardinal Tagle's question, whose hands can we trust? The answer, as he reminds us, is in Jesus' last prayer, the hands of the Father. And this resonates with my experience as a music educator. When I teach students to play piano, I'm actually teaching them to trust the process, to trust their own hands, and ultimately to trust the music itself. Cardinal Tagle's reflection points out how Jesus used his hands throughout his ministry. Jesus stretched out his hands and touched a person afflicted with leprosy. He also took Simon Peter's mother-in-law by the hand and the fever left her. Jesus' hands were instruments of healing and life. This makes me think about how we use music in therapy and healing. The hands that play instruments can bring comfort to weary souls. When I play music from the 80s, those songs that shaped my youth and still bring me joy, I am reminded of how music transcends time, much like faith does. Cardinal Tagle writes, "My dear brothers and sisters, let us always touch the hands of the Father through the hands of Jesus, so that our hands will not only become possible agents of infection, but possible agents of the healing, the power, and the life of the kingdom of God." As we move through this Lenten season, I've been reflecting on how my hands serve others. As program chair at Saint Paul University Manila, my hands now guide not just individual students, but an entire college program. They sign documents, craft curricula, syllabi, and hopefully create spaces where students can discover their own gifts. The preface of Siete Palabras compares powerful prayers to Negro spirituals, noting how they emerged in the crucible of great suffering. It reminds me that some of the most beautiful music comes from places of deep pain. In piano literature, think of Chopin's nocturnes or Beethoven's late sonatas, composed through illness and heartache, yet transcendently beautiful. This Lenten season, I'm learning to surrender my work, my students, and my music into the hands of the Father. Like Jesus, who commended his whole life, his whole ministry, all of us sinners, to the Father's hands, I'm trying to trust that even when my hands feel inadequate for the task before them, God's hands are at work through mine. So, if you're seeking inspiration this Lenten season, I encourage you to get a copy of Siete Palabras, the word for a weary world. Let Cardinal Tagle and the Philippine Jesuits guide you through reflections that truly speak to our current struggles and hopes. It's available at JESCOM exclusives on jescom.ph/Josh. And speaking of voices that inspire, I'm honored to be part of Josh Friends' special series this month featuring women's voices. Throughout March, this podcast will be amplifying women's stories and perspectives, our struggles, our faith, our resilience. So please join us for this special series as we share experiences that might resonate with your own journey. Maraming salamat for joining us for another episode of Josh Friends. Remember, in the same way that music requires both sound and silence, our spiritual journey needs both joy and suffering to create a complete composition of faith. As we continue through Lent toward Easter, may we all find the courage to say with Jesus, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit."
Maraming salamat, kaibigan. That wraps up another episode of Josh Friends. I hope today's reading touched your heart and gave you something to reflect on. Remember, you can find the full text of what we shared today, along with many other inspirational resources at the JESCOM online shop. Until next time, this is Reverend Migs Ramirez reminding you that you are never alone on your journey of faith. Paalam at ingat mga kaibigan!